So conversation intelligence is essentially a tool that helps you transform customer engagements into revenue. Okay? What we do is we analyze sales interactions with customers, and then we provide analytics on top of these interactions, both in real time and post call. And also, these analytics provide the managers with a way to kind of see what is going on in their sales team in terms of is each of the reps engaging the customers, a comparison tool between the different reps, and also to benchmark successful conversational KPIs that are brought up from the conversations and that are tied to those successful sellers that are generating more revenue to the company, and then take those behaviors within the conversation and apply them potentially to the rest of the team in order to boost performance across the board.
In many ways, being able to dig in deeper and understanding what is an effective conversation for a sales environment is really powerful. There's so many tools that you can use within conversational intelligence, understanding the talk versus listen time, understanding keywords and elements and phrases that are impacting your business. More importantly, when leading a sales team, this tool allows you to dig in a little bit deeper, not just get anecdotal feedback, but really understand what's moving the needle for an organization. And it's extremely powerful to be able to use this insight and from a data perspective and an analytics perspective to make business decisions, to make staffing decisions, but to have a better understanding of what you need to do to be successful within your organization and what you need to do to move your sales team forward, especially as this critical sales environment we're approaching.
We're seeing everything from, again, productivity enhancing use cases. So sellers and agents looking to have a tool that helps them go to sift through their hundreds and thousands of conversations and go to points of interest within those conversations in a matter of seconds. Okay, so being able to kind of track down specific demo points in the conversations or discussions about next steps and how they correlated with potential customer negative or positive sentiments. We're seeing just the ability to get all of these formalities, okay, just the ability to get action items captured. And so essentially, you know, it's forget about forgetting for the sellers, right? So they are not missing any point in the conversation, any promise that they made to the customer. It helps them. It helps them kind of showcase their professionalism to the customer, right? The fact that they can follow up on each and every promise they made in previous conversations and not letting anything slip through the cracks. And also there are the use cases of the managers that see kind of more from a high level perspective how the customer engagements as a whole are going in their teams. How many calls or interaction does it take to close a deal? Okay, what are the best practices within those calls that actually turn the conversation around, okay, and better or improve the cycle for either converting lead or winning opportunities.
From a sales rep standpoint, if you're looking to improve, take your craft serious and be professional within that space, you're going to want to use this tool to be able to improve, get better, see areas where you need to work, grow, respond differently, see areas that are impactful and effective when interacting with clients. And so it can be really helpful just as a sales rep to grow, to be able to improve your skill set, to compete amongst your sales team. From a management standpoint, as you look down on a sales team, I think it's really helpful in multiple ways. You can easily identify talent. You can work with those who are struggling in different capacities. You're also able to identify trends amongst the business that are going to make you more efficient and more effective. And since time, typically volume and time are those things you're working against, this tool is going to be able to get more work done, be able to generate more revenue with the same amount of time and the same amount of activity for a sales team. And that's where it really becomes impactful for a business to get more activity, more accomplishment, more revenue in the same amount of time in a given week, in a given day. And that really is going to turn around and impact an organization immediately, and really an impressive tool for those that can take advantage of it.
It's important to understand here that artificial intelligence is getting better and better over time. This will enable human, especially sellers, to focus on the stuff that they can do better than machines, like creativity and collaboration, which are typically the more enjoyable parts, I would say, of work.
So to be specific, what you're saying is that conversational intelligence is at the point where it can actually extract pieces of logical information and then turn them into tasks that would go straight into the CRM and would come up, for example, as an action item, or it might come up as an invitation, and take away the mental and physical task of actually having to go and do that. And as you say, leaving the seller to focus on the sales, and taking out the admin and extracting that and automating that aspect.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this will minimize the number of steps needed to create corresponding activity in the CRM by the automatic extraction of action item related factors. And this will put actually the seller a few clicks away from a CRM activity creation, instead of doing all the hassle of creating an activity and extracting all of the information from the code.
Yeah, I think it's really exciting technology. Some of the challenges in getting sales people on board with any form of a CRM is adoption, right? And there's challenges within that because they have systems, reality is their innate skills is they're built to go sell and generate revenue for an organization. And so the less you can ask them to work on administrative tasks, and the more that you can focus their attention on generating revenue, making contacts, and really representing your business into the community, is really powerful. And so this technology of artificial intelligence has so many capabilities that is going to enhance a salesperson's day-to-day. The more you take that admin business out of just creating opportunities, working within the CRM, creating the next meeting, the next step, if that's all automated and your sellers can now focus on just selling, it really is a game changer within the industry.
The top sellers at organizations are actually, their conversations with customers have actually a higher number of negative customer sentiment as opposed to other sellers' conversations. And it was very steady across all of the conversations. And we learned that most top sellers actually encourage customers to share their pain points, their whatever they're confronting right now with current solutions, their needs, and this is causing them to utter sort of negative sentiments across conversation. And these are, you would think, maybe intuitively, that top sellers would maybe have more positive sentiment on their conversations, but it was actually the other way around, and in a very clear way.
Especially with younger or newer salespeople, that they focus on a pleasing process, something that feels good, a process and a conversation that feels good, and you're going to walk away thinking that there's an opportunity to close the sale, as opposed to asking the right questions and digging a little bit deeper into that conversation. And to Erez's point, it's really interesting in that if you actually have that data and you have that proof that you can show, the conflict on a conversation, especially a sales call, and pushing and digging a little bit deeper and having a better understanding of the client's issues, their pain points, their challenges that they're facing in their business, you're allowed to get in their mindset a little bit more, as opposed to just having this agreeable conversation that you hope that if they agree with you enough that they're going to want to purchase from you, you actually find that they'll agree with you, feel that you're nice, and not necessarily want to move forward. And I think that it's interesting to be able to go back and show hard data and proof that there's that tension actually is going to result in a better relationship, that you're going to be able to work together, overcome those challenges, and hopefully come out with a transaction and a sale for the organization. It's giving people permission to go in and ask difficult questions and be comfortable with difficult responses and realize that it's not a personal, attack if someone has a negative response to your question, but it's really starting to touch on some important points within the conversation. And that, to me, again, going back to, for an inside sales or a younger sales crew, when they're learning to sell, giving them the permission that it's okay to find those tension points within a phone call. And if you have that in a display within your CRM, within your data, and you're able to talk about that as a sales team, that's really powerful to be able to have your sales staff feel comfortable within that conversation that may be a little bit deemed as negative points. I think also another piece that we touched upon earlier that's really powerful is the talk to listen time. In my business and always when I've gotten managing new salespeople in their first jobs, we want to try to listen about 70% of the time and talk 30% of the time. And that's easy for me to sit in an office and talk about that. But if you actually can display visuals that attribute your talk time versus your listen time, and you can dig into that data and have that displayed in a way for you to digest it, you can realize how much you're speaking versus how much you're listening. And when we all know that the key to any good salesperson is being a great listener, and that's really impressive and impactful.
I think that today we are more aware of the fact that there is no out-of-the-box solution that fits all of our customers. And the main learning here was that customization is needed in order to enable our customers to success. And that's why we introduced the customization concept in different parts of the Dynamics 365 Conversation Intelligence tool. As an example for that is the customization for the speech-to-text model. So we have a model that captures the speech and transcribes it. So one of the features that we are working on in order to address this aspect is a script adherence. And the idea here is that there is a predefined script that sellers should adhere to during the call, and we have the transcript. And using AI, we can track the portion of the script that is covered in the conversation. And I'm not talking about word-to-word matching, but it's rather the semantics, the underlying semantics of the conversation. And we are currently developing a model to address this challenge, and I hope that very soon it will be part of the product.
There are industry benchmarks for testing the quality of transcribing audio conversations, and Microsoft is consistently in the top 2 over the years. Microsoft has arguably in the industry the vastest experience in this domain, and in the end of the day, 90% of the analytics, as rich as they are, whether they're real-time or post-call, are relying heavily on the transcription. So you need to have the transcript accurate, And what we're seeing we've gotten feedback from people that are in the industry for a large number of years now, and they are saying that they have never seen such a tool just in terms of the transcribing. So in terms of the formalities, getting those formalities covered, so transcribing, the ability to playback, and then all of these close derivatives of that, being able to capture the action items and so on. This is a great this is like the table stakes, which our customers are loving. But then we're also now adding the AI on top of those table stakes, and that gives like the comprehensive picture.
Yeah, I would say in the conversations I've had with leaders across the sports industry, it's a really interesting and exciting time, an exciting tool to use. Sales scripts are something that have been around for a long time, but never used in this context and not with the data and artificial intelligence support that it provides. So being able to have it from a training tool, from a management tool, from a visualization standpoint, and being able to understand what's effective within your business, I think it's really powerful. And I really, top to bottom, I think there's nothing more impactful in the short run of being able to create additional revenue opportunities, be more efficient within the sales process, do more on a sales staff with less bodies. There's not going to be a tool that's going to have more impact than conversational intelligence in the near future.
We have to address what's going on right now in the world, right? So she told us we jumped 10 years into the future within a period of 6 months. Okay, so this technology just really within the past couple of months has transformed from a potentially nice to have to businesses across the world to a must have. Okay, now all of the interactions, all of the customers' interactions are done remotely. Managers across the globe do not have almost any visibility in those business critical conversations, and they want some sort of a technology to kind of bring the data back to them in a very compelling manner.
To your point, Erez, of what you said earlier, like we've been forced to get further in the future than I think a lot of companies were comfortable with not too long ago. And so in some ways, it's changed the perspective of a lot of business leaders to understand the need for something like this. And so in general, the feedback I get from a lot of people is that they understand that whether or not it's this tool, they need to be thinking in that context. Whereas before it was a technology that was down the road, it was in the future, it would be a nice to have. And candidly, I think now they realize they can't afford to wait. And so you realize, especially dealing with, I would say, like, heads of sales departments, right? Like they get it instantaneously of the impact this will have immediately amongst their staff and how they operate their business. I think it's going to be really powerful. Like I said, my background was running sales teams for sports organizations. And we would try to manufacture the same technology outside of having artificial intelligence and having the conversations being translated. We wouldn't have that necessarily from a technology standpoint, but we would try to manufacture some version of this, which would take so much more effort and time and energy. And so if this can all be automated in an AI setting, it is unreal how powerful it is. It sounds like I'm overstating it, but I really am not. Like it really does change how businesses will operate.